Hey, it's your girl, Carenda Deonne, your number one change agent. That's right. And we are coming to your intimate space for our how to craft impactful speeches. Now, all week long, we have been talking about how to craft impactful speeches. So if you have been following the podcast, if you have been following the information that I've sent out for our weekly email motivational messages, if you have been following our Take Aim blog, information has been pouring into you. Those of you who are speakers, teachers, presenters, lecturers, trainers, preachers, I have really been pouring out information that you can make applicable right now to see your speeches go to another level. As I have shared before, I have been teaching, I have been training, I have been preaching, I have been motivating for over 13 years. And so one thing that I have come to really understand when it comes to crafting impactful speeches is that it really is an art form. It is. It really is an art form. I know that you may think that those certain speakers that you really follow and you enjoy, one being your number one change agent. Thank you so much. I know that you may think that we just stand up and it just comes out just naturally, and we don't have to prepare, we don't have to practice, we don't have to go through various processes so that we build our climax. We do. It is an art. It is an art form. And so I need you to really understand that as you are preparing for your next speech, as you are preparing for your next presentation, it is a work of art. And, if you want to paint the canvas, with grays and blues, okay. If you want to paint the canvas with yellows and reds, so be it. But it is a work of art. It is a work of art. From the moment you open your mouth, from the moment you introduce yourself, from the moment you walk on that stage, that platform, that pulpit, your sound is being announced. Your sound is being announced. The moment you pick up that microphone or you're speaking into a cordless microphone, lights, camera, action. It is an art form. So you want to be prepared. And I have said this before in a previous, maybe in the podcast from this week, that for you to stand and not be prepared is a disappointment to all parties involved. It really is a disappointment. If you don't take anything I say to you seriously in this video, and I hope that you take all of it seriously, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared. So you might say, Carenda, what does that look like? Okay, we can unpack that. You know me, we're going to unpack. We're going to take aim. That's what we do. So you need to know your subject matter very well. That's one way in which you prepare yourself. You have to know your subject matter. If you are getting up and you are talking about hope, and your message is to give hope to others, you need to be, and you really must know that subject matter very well. Meaning, what is hope? What is that? And what situations do we go through in life that can begin to taint our hope? And when that happens, what does that look like? What happens to you mentally? What happens to you emotionally? What happens to you physically? And how can you begin to get back on that track of hope and feeling as if I can get through this particular situation or circumstance? What does that look like? How do you do that? What are some practical ways in which you can begin to implement hope or revitalize hope so that you can pursue your purpose, pursue what it is that you desire to do? But if I'm not prepared, if I cannot give you a clear depiction, description, and verbal dialogue on hope, how effective will I be? I may not be as effective. Or, my audience might listen, but are they really hearing what I'm saying? Do they feel as if what I am saying has value? And when you prepare yourself for your speeches, you're preparing yourself for value. You are preparing yourself for adding value to that person's life, adding value to that person's situation in which they can think differently, adding value so that they leave wanting to make changes, wanting to do something different, leaving different than in which they came. So you must be prepared. Okay. Also, you have to be comfortable in your skin. And I talked about this. If you are someone who is a great storyteller and it's natural for you, you need to incorporate that in your speeches. Everyone cannot do that. Everyone is not a great storyteller. It is a gift. It is an art to be able to really unfold a story and carry your entire audience through that story from beginning to end, that it clicks for them. That is a gift, my friend. So if you have the gift of storytelling, incorporate that. If you have the gift of humor and you naturally can make people laugh, incorporate that. If you are a person who likes history and or statistics and you get into numbers and all of that, incorporate it. Find out what it is that you do well as a natural skill. And I shared with you all, one thing that I do well is expression. Okay, expression and mental stimulus. So when I am crafting a speech, I am always thinking of the mind first. I am thinking, okay, why is it that we choose to do the things that we do? What is happening mentally? What does that mental process look like? Because I feel like if I can get you to think, I can get you to change. If I can get you to think, I can get you to take aim. If I can get you to think, I can get you to change your thought process. If I can get you to think, I can get you to take risk. If I can get you to think, I can get you to deliver a new you. Ooh, I'm excited. I just unpacked that for you, right? So in my mind, no matter what the subject matter is, I understand that I have the skill and ability to create mental stimulus. So I'm always thinking mind first. And secondly, I have a skill for expression. I have a skill in taking a word and breaking that word all the way down. And so if you are like that, incorporate that, but be comfortable in your skin. It's okay to admire others. I've said this before. I have admired many women and men, preachers, teachers, etc., motivational speakers, but it's only one of them and there's only one of me. And guess what? Guess what? There's only one of you. So if you're going to craft impactful speeches, please know your subject. Be an expert in your subject. Know what your skill set is and craft that skill to incorporate that within your message. Always engage your audience. Make sure that you do not ramble. That is the quickest way to lose the impact of your speech. Do not ramble. Make sure, unless you are in politics or you are a politician, please leave politics out of your speech. Stay focused on what your message is. Build your climax. Don't give it all too early, because then now you have to try to change the mood, bring your audience back in, and then build them back up again. Build your climax. Build your climax. Prepare, prepare, prepare. And also ask yourself, What is it that I want to, or I want those who are listening to my speech to remember? How do I want to be remembered? What fingerprint am I going to leave once I walk off of that stage and say, thank you so much? After I give my closing, what is it that I want them to leave with? So I hope that some of these ideas, and there are probably a few more that I shared on the podcast. So please make sure to go to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and Spotify. Type in Take Aim. The Take Aim podcast will pull up for you, and you can listen to that podcast in full in case there were some other tips or additional tips that I was not able to cover with you today. So be sure to do that. I hope that if it was just one thing that was said, I hope that you're able to take that information, use that as you begin to craft your speeches. Remember, please remember, an original piece of art is always more expensive than a print. You don't need to replicate anyone else. If someone wants to hear you, they want to hear you. If they want that person that you are replicating or sounding like or being like, they can just call that person and get the real deal. I mean, seriously. Okay. So if they are calling your number, if they are reaching out into your inbox, that means they want you to show up. They want the authentic you to show up. So what does that look like? What does that look like? And what is it that you need to make sure you continue to do and continue to implement as you craft impactful speeches? This has been your girl, Carenda Deonne, your number one change agent. Be sure to find me on the web at carendadeonne.com. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. And remember, making lemonade is a choice. I am challenging you to take aim. Let's continue to craft impactful speeches. Until next time, live life on the promise of impact.